To pray, there's no angels where I go, only pieces that are broken, scattered dreams across the floor. I'm home.
Alrighty, hello everybody. This is Kira's show here. Now, before I do begin, I'm not really sure how to say this, because it's still kind of surprising to me. I have not been keeping up with the way my channel has been growing. Earlier this morning, before I recorded, or tried to record, I found that I was almost at 3,000. I am only a few subscribers away. And that milestone, to me, it's pretty impressive actually. So I'm going to be trying to, record that tomorrow, hopefully. I will have to go to work though, so I'm going to try and get that out. Now, with that being said, it's also kind of funny, because the next one after this, the next what if after this is Deku. And with the way my channel's intro is, I feel like the stars aligned for me to put that as my 3K special. So anyways, let us start the what if. Whenever we last left off, Zuko Midoriya died and was buried. And the battle with Mongol and Cyborg Superman, things were, they went bad for the heroes. The world lost quite a bit of members from the Justice League. Some of the bigger named heroes survived. However, you do have some members of the Teen Titans, the Young Justice, and I believe some of the members of the Justice League did die. People who weren't heavy hitters that day died. That's something I can say. I want to say I could be 100% certain of that. However, if a name does pop up here that doesn't sound like a heavy hitter, they survived. Anyways, along with that, Jiro, she blasted off into space after finding out about Midoriya's sacrifice. Now, Jiro is trying to come to terms with it. The last time Midoriya died, quote unquote, was a planet-yielding explosion. That clearly would have killed anyone, possibly even Superman. But there wasn't a body the first time, and he came back from it. But it's still harder to understand, since she saw him. She saw his corpse, along with something peculiar. She wants to tell the Guardians about it, but if she does, they'll probably just try and inspect Midoriya's remains. Whenever a user of a ring dies, usually their rings disappear, go away. However, four of Midoriya's rings remained. And it was odd. It didn't really even make sense. How did they stay? The Ultraviolet ring, sure, but she's seen Green Lantern rings disappear, leave. So why didn't his? Even the Sinestro Corps members and, Rage's rings leave, right? It was very odd to her, as he's still blasting through space at this point. She needs to get to the Red Lantern homeworld. Only then will she find Atrocitus. It has been a very long time since she has seen that man. Whenever she finds him, she is going to tell him exactly what she's going to do. She's going to walk straight into Darkseid's straight into Darkseid's house, and then beat him to death. She wants Mongol's head, and she will do anything it will take to get that for herself. Now, let us cut over to Earth. Hal Jordan, he is still mourning his own city and its destruction, as he's at least walking around and trying to look through whatever rubble he can find to see if anyone even survived. Whenever he does find something, it's usually not even a person. It's either a piece of metal or just a piece of rubble that probably was destroyed. Even then, it's still hard to believe. But our story isn't with Hal Jordan. If you guys have ever seen Emerald, Twilight, or read it, that is what is happening right now. And for those of you who don't really care about that, you're only here for the what if, Emerald Twilight is basically a story where Hal Jordan, after the reign of Superman, events, Cyborg Superman blows up Coast City. Hal Jordan goes insane, creates constructs using willpower to try and restore his city to what it used to be, its former glory. After doing so, he basically lives in a delusional fantasy. Best way to say it. Whenever the lanterns are not lanterns, whenever his ring runs out of juice, and the Guardians of the Universe tell him that he used his ring for personal gain, he basically goes on a one-man murder spree. Going insane, losing it, murdering Green Lanterns, getting Oa, killing Sinestro, and then becoming a villain by the name of Parallax. Before the shitty retcon, where, oh hey, it was actually the entity of fear that possessed Hal Jordan, and made him think he did all this shit. Anyways, Hal Jordan's actually going insane in this what if. Not the entity of fear thing. Now, with that being said, let us also cut back to Izuku Midoriya's grave. There was one man who couldn't attend the funeral. In fact, he is looking over Midoriya's grave. And he's thinking about how the past used to be. He's met this boy. He's seen this boy. And he's even trained this boy. As Deathstroke stands over Izuku Midoriya's grave. And he is thinking. This was his apprentice at one point. A boy he even viewed as his son. Before his son died. He went back to the life. It was not good to him, nor was it kind. Then again, life was not kind to this boy either. So, he is thinking, the boy deserves another chance. He already got one, so how about a third? Hell, he's known a man who has had over 1,000,000 chances. Possibly even thousands. But he still wastes it. As he uses his shovel to dig up Midoriya's grave. Now, with that being said, for those of you who are wondering why Superman isn't alive, he's actually dead. Anyways, back over with Jiro. While flying through space, she is trying to figure this out. Trying to come up with a plan. As nothing really even works. And she would start going through the stages of grief. I don't remember exactly which order they go in. I'm trying to think actually. I am drawing a blank. I'm very tired. Anyways, she still doesn't believe Midoriya is dead. As she would finally stop. And actually take a break before heading to the homeworld of the Red Lanterns. Whenever she does arrive on this planet, she is looking around and seeing it. The planet is quite beautiful, and it is very just teeming with life. It doesn't even seem like she left Earth. As she begins to look through it and see different things, it's almost like a jungle, a Garden of Eden. What is this place? As she looks down at the water and just stares at it, the water is blue, and it seems to be, from what her ring is saying, made of H2O, just like back on Earth. As she bends down and grabs a handful of it, running it through her fingers, and at least looking around at the life, asking her ring exactly how much this planet is similar to Earth. The ring saying that from known information, planets in sector, let's just say 1542, is genetically identical to Earth at 50 to 78%, according to biometric readings and atmospheric conditions. Meaning that the only thing that is different on this planet is the life forms. As she turns and looks back into the water, and she sees Midoriya, before quickly turning around, him not being there. Confused as she would just turn around and blast at the water, screaming at it that wasn't funny. Before she at least does begin to make her way around and think more. Before she does have a crazy idea. She asks the ring as she would sit down to play audio logs of the former owner. The ring saying that authorization is not, as she would just tell the ring to override, using one of Midoriya's authorization code log names. Usually they do at least try and record logs together, it being a bit of fun. Memories they can look onto of the old days, whenever things aren't easy. She's glad that they did. As she hears a recording of his voice, and her own. I still don't understand why you want us to do this, Midoriya. Well, just in case, you know? As she at least begins to tear up, watching this old memory. It's a recording from, well, somewhere around Christmas time, as the two are basically cooking and having a bit of fun in the dorms. They're in the kitchen actually baking a bit of holiday cookies, along with actually having fun together. As what happens is they're making the dough, then they're melting the chocolates. And when they got done, they did have some left over. Along with that, she basically did put a bit of chocolate on Midoriya's nose. And Midoriya would have given her a kiss. Whenever she did at least have something on her face. The two ended up making out before everyone did at least walk in. And tell them to actually go get a room. Before the two would have actually laughed. And Midoriya would realize that the log is still playing, as he tells it to end the transmission. Jiro, she does feel that. She remembers that day with such clarity. She remembers everything. The snow outside. The way things were. Hell, even that guitar Midoriya saved up so much for just to get her. All of it doesn't really seem to fit anymore. Is this really what she's going to do? Head straight for Apocalypse and do what? Die? Just like Midoriya? No, he sacrificed himself for us. For me. As she does begin to tear up once again. And think. As she does at least. Remember. Izuku Midoriya. As she just requests the ring to play another audio file. Along with actually throwing up her ring and having it do a projection of the scenario. Her seeing more and more things. Midoriya was one of those weird people. He was always taking notes of something. The rings weren't an exception. He wanted to study them, along with actually seeing the logs that they shared, telling her ring to play one of her own. It's showing a complete scenario of the events, one that both of them recorded. The two are hanging out and actually listening to music, along with her trying to teach Midoriya how to at least strum a guitar, along with trying to play it. Whenever that didn't work, she tried to get him on drums. He was a bit better at it, but he still did lack rhythm. He always forgot to keep his foot moving, along with which order and a certain way to hit these things. He was always like that. He always seemed clumsy. He was one of the strongest guys she knew. Even then. As she does at least get up and tell the ring to play more audio files. As she does at least begin to make her way back towards Earth. Trying to think. Whenever this didn't work the first time, well, revenge didn't work the first time. We ransacked the Guardian's homeworld. Then after that, as something would go flying past her, at an incredible speed. Her confused with what that was, as it was a green blur. Kinda confused. She wants to follow it as she would ask her ring exactly what was that object. Kyokujiro. That was Green Lantern Hal Jordan of Sector 2814. Calculating his trajectory, he is currently heading for Oa, the Green Lantern homeworlds. The Green Lantern homeworld is, as she was just telling her ring, that she knows what Oa is. But why is he heading there? As she would turn back around and begin to fly back towards Earth. Now, with that being said, let's cut back over to Midoriya's grave. Roughly about 8 hours earlier, after Jiro left the planet. Deathstroke has dug Midoriya's body up, as he would throw open his caskets and take him out. Seeing the rings, and at least not minding them. As he basically does put Midoriya in the back of a car, in a body bag. Along with reburying Midoriya's grave and his caskets. People are going to think that the soil is still settling. And that is the reason why it's still, at least up in the air. Or it isn't flattened out yet. Now, after doing that, he would just leave and get transportation set up. As he does begin to leave the country of Midoriya's body, taking him to a place far away. He takes him to the League of Assassins. That is never a good sign, as you do have Ra's al Ghul asking Deathstroke what business does he have here. as Deathstroke would just state that he had to call in a favor. Ra's al Ghul surprised and asked him exactly what is this favor. As Deathstroke would just open up the bag he has with him, saying that this boy, as Ra's al Ghul would just say that is Red Crimson, isn't it? The pro hero who works with the detective. Yes, it is. I have a favor to ask. I need you to bring him back. And why would we bring back a pro hero? Let alone use the Lazarus Pit on him. You have some nerves, Slade. The favor I said I would give you does not apply to the Lazarus Pits. As Slade let Deathstroke was just going saying that he understands. But, well, he also does have something to tell him. Batman was murdered alongside this boy. Are you sure? Yes. Along with that, he was my disciple, the one I have told you about. Years ago, before I resumed work for you, I trained this young boy. I trained him how to be a vigilante. I gave him a suit and told him that he should be on his way, and to make his own destiny as a hero. Unfortunately, Umbrax happened. Ah, yes, Umbrax. He was quite the foe, wasn't he? Yes, he killed Martian Manhunter. And from what my information shows on him, as he would just pull out one of Midoriya's hands. It's showing off all 4 of his rings, saying that these all should have left his body. But they did not. So, either they aren't at full charge, or they're all dead. Or something else is going on. Along with that, he is the totem for that ultraviolet power. Totem. What do you mean, totem? I mean what I say. He can produce a power that is strong enough to murder Martian Manhunter. He survived a planet-destroying event with it. After that, he came back to Earth, got Umbrax out of his head, and was able to use it on his own, along with the other rings. Don't you remember he went up against Doomsday a couple months ago? Or last year? Well, I do believe you are correct. Along with that, he was going up against some guy called Mongol, who worked for Darkseid, meaning that they are powerful enough to take on Superman. Don't you at least want that in a league, Raish? Besides, you have access to a weapon strong enough to take down the Justice League. All I'm telling you is you have to put some new batteries in it. And you're telling me that you don't want to? That does not sound like a confident leader. Or do you just think you can't control the threats? Ra's al Ghul looking at Deathstroke, telling him that he has a lot of nerve, coming in here and saying those words. However, they do ring true. You have provided enough information for me to at least want to take on this curious case. Now, with that being said, Ra's al Ghul will just order the League of Assassins to take this boy's body and get it prepared, ready for the Lazarus Pits. As they would do so, Ra's al Ghul taking at least some countermeasures, and taking the rings off of Midoriya's hand. And he'll give these back once the boy at least does regain composure. Now, with that, they would dunk Midoriya's body into the Lazarus Pits, and he would come back out, screaming and gasping for air. As he does look around, with rage in his eyes, completely full of it and primitive, as he would just begin to try running out. As soon as he runs out, a member of the League of Assassins would run forwards and try to stop him. Midoriya throwing up his hand as he does something peculiar. Race watching it. Midoriya, he uses instincts, not primal, fighting instincts. Throwing up his left arm and immediately smacking the assassin's arm upwards, before grabbing into his throat and crushing the mask with his other hand, as he crushes the man's throat, and throws them into another one of his opponents, as he does run forwards, trying to take them all down. He murders about 5 to 6 members of the League of Assassins, which is intense. Not even Ra's al Ghul has seen this happen. As he would just rush forwards, along with Deathstroke, the two making quick work of a feral child. Now, with that being said, after taking him down, they would lock him up in a room. As whenever Midoriya is locked up in this room, he does at least try and punch at the door and take it down. Now, with that, one other thing does happen. Whenever Midoriya does at least fall down and curl up into a ball, he does feel odd. His body doesn't know what's going on. All it remembers is suffocating, and then drowning. That's the only memories it has. The only things it remembers feeling. Midoriya just bringing his hand over his chest and looking down. Before an odd sensation happens and he turns around, watching as a giant purple figure is standing over him. Him backing up and letting out a feral scream, going up against the wall and bringing his hand up to go to fight at it. Him bringing them up close as he's basically going to go and fight with his fingernails. Before this thing does at least look back at him oddly and go to bring its own hand, basically mimicking Midoriya's. Him not sure as to what this is. Before this mist would begin to make its way out of the room. As soon as it makes its way out, it would just begin to move about. Quite a lot of people seeing it and trying to attack it. As it would just begin to butcher and murder as many of the League of Assassin members as it can. Ra's al Ghul mistaking this for Midoriya breaking free. As higher members of the League, along with Talia al Ghul, will begin to run throughout the complex and run into these catacombs, where they do have Midoriya locked up. Whenever they do find that he's still in his cell and the security alert is from something else, they would need to investigate it. Taking an inventory of everything. This being odd. The only thing out of place was a few things, along with Midoriya's ring. Midoriya's ring was missing, specifically the ultraviolet one, as this dark energy would fly away. Now, with that being said, I do believe that I can leave it off here, and I do hope you guys enjoyed. And I probably just threw someone's complete worldview of how things are going already in this world. So, to the person who I just did that to, shit happens. Anyways, I hope you guys have an amazing night. I'll catch you guys in the next part.